Well, good afternoon, everyone. We are grateful that you joined us for this afternoon's webinar. My name is Shonda Harris, and I'm a business opportunity specialist with the Columbus SBA Small Business Administration. And we'd like to welcome you to today's webinar, Doing Business with Wright Patterson Air Force Base and the Army Corps of Engineers. And today's webinar is part of a series leading up to the Ohio Business Matchmaker, which, if this is your first time joining us, the Ohio Business Matchmaker is our signature contracting event that we put on each year. And we've been doing this for about 15 or 16 years. And the Matchmaker always takes place in Dayton, Ohio, at the Wright State University Nutter Center. So we are grateful that it takes place right there in Dayton at Wright Pat, which is at the back door of Wright Patterson Air Force Base. So again, if this is your first time joining us, the Matchmaker is a contracting event that allows small businesses the opportunity to be engaged with government agencies, whether it's federal, state, city, county, and you get an opportunity to find out what opportunities those government entities may have for you. And so leading up to that event, which is going to be on May 8th and 9th down in Dayton, we always, maybe for the last 6 or 7 years, we started doing a webinar series to allow small businesses the opportunity to learn a little more about the event, as well as to learn a little bit more about the agencies, who's going to be there, what they buy, and then how you can do business with them. So with that, we put on this series, and we don't just do this in and of ourselves, but we're grateful that we're able to work with some wonderful partners in putting this on. Again, I'm with the SBA, Small Business Administration. We're grateful to work with the Apex Accelerators, the Minority Business Assistance Centers, the MBACs, the SBDCs, the Small Business Development Centers, and the wonderful individuals at the Ohio Department of Development, as well as our government agencies. So with that, I do want to turn it over to one of our wonderful partners, the Apex Accelerators, Mr. Joey Scott, who serves as the statewide manager for the Ohio Apex Accelerators. He's going to tell you a little bit about who they are and what they do and how they can help you as a small business, especially if this is your first time getting engaged with the Matchmaker. So Joey?
Yes, thank you, Shonda. Good afternoon, everyone. As you heard, I'm Joey Scott. I am the statewide program manager for our Ohio Apex Accelerator. We are a program funded in part by the Department of Defense, State of Ohio, and our local partners at Youngstown State University, Ohio University, and Rhodes State College. And we exist to serve you. We exist to help Ohio businesses with all things government contracting, from starting out with registrations to looking at your eligibility for business certifications at the federal and state levels, helping you walk through how to apply, things like that, helping you find opportunities. We have a daily bid match that'll bring contract opportunities to your inbox. We can also help you review your opportunities that you find and review your responses to those. We cannot write anything. We are not an agent of your company, but we can review everything with you to make sure that you are as responsible and responsive as possible in your offers. So, and then on the post-award side of things, we can help you with a variety of issues as well, such as invoicing, understanding contract requirements and clauses, and anything else in between. So we are your one-stop shop for all things government contracting at the federal, state, and local levels. So we can assist whether you're selling to the DoD or to the state of Ohio or your local school district, whatever it is, we can assist. So that is the short of who we are. You may know us by our former name, the Procurement Technical Assistance Center, or PTACs. We have a new name, Apex Accelerators, but the same great mission of helping businesses with all things government contracting. So I'll turn it back to you, Shonda.
All right, thank you so much, Joey. It is grateful to be able to work with such wonderful partners. And as Joey said, they have the fantastic mission of helping small businesses to get engaged with government entities. So if you hear something today during either one of the presentations or any time throughout this month that you may be participating in a webinar, you can follow up with one of the Apex counselors that's closest to you in your area and set up a meeting with them, and that is at no cost. So they're there to help you from cradle to grave as it relates to government contracting. So we're grateful to that. Just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. Today's webinar is being recorded. So at the end of the session, we will post the link for the recording as well as the slides on the Ohio Business Matchmaker website, as well as the Apex Accelerator at Ohio University. They will also have a link to the slides and also the presentation. So you can have access to those after this. Also, if you do have questions, if you can pull up the chat, I'll be monitoring the chat. If you have any questions, go ahead and type those in the chat and we will present those to the speaker at an appropriate time during their presentation. And we can go from there. All right, I think that's about it for housekeeping items, and we'll go ahead and get started with our webinar. I'd like to introduce our first presenter. It is Mr. Luke Schultz, who is the Director of Small Business Programs at AFLCMC at Wright Patterson Air Force Base. Always grateful to work with Luke and his team down at Wright Pat. They always have a huge presence at the Matchmaker, and they always have such a wonderful team that is there to represent Wright Patterson. So without further ado, Luke, you can take it away.
Okay, great. Thanks, Shonda. Thanks, Joe. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your time, and I'll go ahead and let me know if you can see my slides now.
Yes.
Okay, great. And I'll go ahead and click that stop sharing down, or hide it, I'm sorry. Okay, once again, my name's Luke Schultz, Director of Small Business Programs for Air Force Lifecycle Management Center located at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. So here, headquartered Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, we do weapon systems from inception to retirement. We have mission execution directorates, which a lot of the times we refer to them as, the program executive officers like PO bombers, PO fighters and advanced aircraft. We also have enabling directorates too, which is like finance, small business office, things like that. The next bullet down there, that last one, is great information. If you go to our website, there's a lot of information out there along with the organizations. Our website is out there with a lot of useful information. So we've really spent quite a bit of time working with public affairs in our office and the other POs, or in essence, mission execution directorates, to help increase the information that's out there on our websites and help you understand the mission we have here at Air Force Lifecycle Management Center. Okay, this next chart, I'll just go over it. Shows the website again, the various program executive offices there, Agile Combat Support, Business Enterprise Systems. You can kind of go through the list and see them there. We also have what we call non-PO, which is along the lines of operational contracting, which this includes construction. Quite a bit of spend there, considering everything that's going on. So give me a quick minute. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Next chart we have. Okay, what have we been up to? One of the biggest things that you've kind of learned about recently for us at Air Force Lifecycle Management Center that we've been talking about is the Great Power Competition. So the what behind it, Secretary of the Air Force Frank Kendall, he talked about, moving forward with a sense of urgency and, making sure that we win, and in essence that we're out of time. So one of the big things from that is developing the capabilities. So the next charts I'm going to show you is kind of some of the changes that we're going through. So this one with Great Power Competition, it's going to stand up the Air Force Information Dominance System Center. So as you can read below through there, We'll increase the focus on information dominance capabilities. There's additional information down there, and really it's going to be a realignment. So within the Air Force Information Dominance System Center, these following PEO actions are going to occur. So if you remember before, I had the list of various PEOs with Air Force Lifecycle Management Center, and these are some of the changes that are going to happen. So center commander will be the DAF, so the Department of the Air Force, PO for command control, communications, and battle management. That will be a key one. We have C3INN, which is down below. The command control, communications, intelligence networks will become cyber and networks with a revised portfolio. PO digital will become PO electronic systems, and they'll also have a revised portfolio. But business and enterprise systems, the PO, that will remain the same. So just wanted to kind of include some information out there on some of the changes that we'll be going through. The next one is for Air Force Lifecycle Management Center, will be redesignated as the Air Force Air Dominance System Center. Really focus on the portfolio is going to focus on aircraft, weapons systems, and readiness and enterprise product support. And the headquarters will remain where it is currently at Wright Patterson Air Force Base. You can kind of see the changes down there. Some of the major changes there is center commander will be the PO for combat readiness, which merges all programs from PO Rapid Sustainment Office and select programs from the PO Agile Combat Support and other enterprise product support duties. PO mobility and training aircraft will be separated into PO mobility and then PO training. Then PO propulsion, we'll have that, and kind of a holistic approach versus the platform specific one. Fighters and advanced aircraft will remain the same. ISR SOF for the most part will stay the same, but then they'll add some various programs which are listed there. Bombers will remain the same and have the option to expand in the future. Presidential and executive air power, and then PO weapons will stay the same. So that just kind of gives you a little information on what's occurring within Air Force Lifecycle Management Center. This chart I have up now is kind of what our office does. In essence, our biggest push is to support the warfighter and push program offices, program teams to seek and consider small business capabilities, make sure small business has a seat at the table, and look out for those opportunities. One of the main things that we do is we counsel contractors. So the defense industry, we can help you meet your capabilities with the needs for Air Force Lifecycle Management Center. We also listen to industry and take in inquiries, help them get answers to questions, and then other guidance and things like that. We also work closely with the Apex accelerators and the Small Business Administration, particularly at Wright Patterson Air Force Base, the Small Business Administration's Procurement Center representatives, Dr. Tom Kruzmark and Paul Dewhurst, the SBA PCR. We also down there that list promoting in-reach and outreach programs. In-reach is provide training to the acquisition workforce. The outreach programs is kind of what we're doing right now. Provide presentations to industry on what our office does. Provide information to them. Counsel contractors, and one of the biggest outreach events, or our preeminent event for Air Force Lifecycle Management Center, is Lifecycle Industry Days, which is in the summer this year down at the Dayton Convention Center, and I have additional information in a following slide. And really what we do is we advocate for the mission, but we really push the offices to seek and promote the small business solutions and alternatives that are out there.
Luke,
This chart here, yes.
I'm sorry, we had a question and it was a couple of slides back, but Courtney wanted to know, on one of the slides you had PEO, and I believe construction was under the, what does the PEO stand for?
Oh, PO's Program Executive Officer.
Okay. Okay,
And
thank
the
you.
non-PEO, the non-PEO portfolio is, I had construction listed. So those are like construction. We have a PZI office that covers various operational concerns at the base.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. This chart I have up there just shows the AFLCMC small business influence. In essence, the big takeaway from here is in fiscal year 23, we did $4.3 billion. I know, oh, I actually have to change that because it has fiscal year 22. Actually, in fiscal year 23, we did $4.3 billion in small business spend. AFMC as a whole had small business obligations of $9.7 billion. So if you can see this chart here, this lists the in essence, the small business spend for Air Force Lifecycle Management Center accounted for 44% of AFMC's total small business obligations. It includes the other small business offices that are within the Air Force Material Command, Air Force Installation Mission Support Center, 8%, Air Force Test Center, 10%, Air Force Sustainment Center, 14%, Air Force Research Labs, 22%, and then Air Force Nuclear Weapons Center is 2%. So, and that data is current as of 1 November 2023. So that just shows we do quite a bit of business for small business, and it's a great impact for Air Force Lifecycle Management Center. This next one just shows the small business obligations from 2017 to 2023. Once again, $4.3 billion in small business for 2023, which was an increase over 2022. In 2021, we had a big push up there from COVID that equated to about $4.8 billion in small business spend. So we've been very fortunate to drive small business dollars. This next chart, doing business with us for Air Force Lifecycle Management Center. Make sure you register a business. Make sure you obtain that UEI, which is the Unique Entity Identifier, free of charge for government contracting and grants. The big portion of this is making sure that you access SAM.gov, which is the System for Award Management. Back in the day, it used to be FedBizOps, but on this system, you can search for contracting opportunities, prime, and then also you can look for opportunities that are out there, respond to sources sought, and find those subcontracting opportunities with other than small businesses and small businesses too. The great part of subcontracting, usually that's the first entry for small businesses to do business with the Department of Defense or Air Force Lifecycle Management Center, is through doing subcontracts. Make sure that you perform well on these and understand the terms and conditions that you're signing up for those subcontracts. The next one down here, this last bullet here, is the SAF-SB, or Secretary of the Air Force Small Business Office. They have a lot of great information out there. They also have a list of contracting business opportunities, in essence, the expiring contract list. So I'll go through some pointers for small business on this. Make sure you respond to requests for information or draft RFPs. This really provides information to the program teams to see whether or not the contracting officer may set aside that contract for small business. It gives us better market research, in essence, and increases our market intelligence to help us understand the small businesses that are out there, the capabilities that are out there. And if we can't set it aside, then this will help us drive subcontracting opportunities and making sure that we understand kind of what we can put in for those subcontracting opportunities, increasing the percentage of subcontracting opportunities that are out there for small businesses. This also helps the primes because we have subcontracting plans with them, and they have to make sure they obtain those goals. And this is great for not only for them, but also for Air Force Lifecycle Management Center to make sure that there are opportunities for small business. This also gets us information early in the process, so they can understand the industry that's out there, the capabilities. It really helps with the contracting officer to determine the acquisition. We're also looking at ways that we can break out larger contracts. So this will provide us a list of businesses that are out there that will help us, and opportunities for them. Um, so these are the pointers for small businesses. This next chart I have up here, like I said before, make sure you respond to the request for information, the draft RFP, the sources sought. It's crucial for that. And then also make sure you're an interested party, and it's beneficial to attend industry day events, even if you can't prime that effort, because you can network with other businesses that are there and share your capability statement with them and kind of really create those strategic partnerships. Next one, make sure your information and the system for awards management is current, accurate, and complete. We've run across issues in the past where the information was not complete and had to make sure to run or to contact the company and make sure that they updated it. But make sure you check that and it's current, accurate, complete. Next one, look for those strategic partnership. Look how you can strengthen your capabilities. There's a lot of great small business programs out there. Mentor Protege. I know with the Small Business Matchmaker, you have opportunities to network with other businesses that are out there. There will be other than small businesses that are there that are looking for small businesses that can perform and help them out. And that next one, if you have a subcontract or a prime contract, make sure you pay close attention and really perform well. Where not only is Air Force Lifecycle Management Center looking for small businesses that provide innovative solutions, but also great performance, and our partners, the other than small businesses, are also looking for businesses that have unique capabilities and are able to perform. This next bullet down here, make sure, like I said, you attend industry days. Our biggest preeminent industry days are life cycle industry days, which is going to be at the Dayton Convention Center, which is probably about 15-20 minutes from Wright Patterson Air Force Base. This is located in Dayton, Ohio. The event's going to be July 29th through the 31st. We're also doing it, we're doing a Power Pack week with the Air Force Research Labs. So they'll also have their event at the Dayton Convention Center, which will start on July 31st and run through the end of the week. And they call theirs the Right Dialogue with Industry. But that's a great event. You can go to our Air Force Lifecycle Management Center Small Business Office website and get the information on Life Cycle Industry Days. We're currently pulling together the agenda for that. It looks like it's going to be a great agenda. I know various small business directors are going to be there under Air Force Material Command. There's also going to be a list of other than small businesses there. They're going to bring their small business liaison officers that are looking for small businesses. There'll also be potentials to do one-on-ones, a lot of strategic networking. And then we're also looking to have the Air Force Lifecycle Management Center along with some other innovation leads there, and doing a panel there and being able to connect. Once before, just reiterate, Joey and Shonda, make sure you connect with your Small Business Administration Procurement Center representative and your Apex Accelerator, their wealth of information. As far as on searching contract opportunities, I talked about SAM.gov, the Air Force Small Business website, which is SAFSB's website, and then also our website, which is listed below there. That's the third one there. We have just recently in the last month and a half, we put out the expiring contract list for the next 3 years with Air Force Lifecycle Management Center. You can down that as an Excel spreadsheet. You can search for opportunities, and then there's also a PDF version of it too. The other thing else I'd like to point out on our website that's great is we list the upcoming outreach events that we do at Wright Brothers Institute with the Air Force Material Command, Small Business Office, colliders. Some of those colliders, what's great about them, the colliders are down at the Wright Brothers Institute in downtown Dayton, but what's great about them is they're hybrid, so they're virtual and in person. It's free. They also record them. Some of the upcoming colliders they're going to do is operational imperatives, great power competition. We're doing one with the AFMC small business directors. We've done one on woman-owned small business, subcontracting opportunities. Coming up is demystifying the source selection process, the PALM process. So a lot of great information out there, and you can sign up for those events. Like I said before, they're hybrid. They record them, so if you sign up for them and something comes up, you can go back around when you have time and access those events. The next one, make sure you know the rules of federal government contracting, the terms and conditions, and make sure you really submit well-prepared quotes and proposal. You'd be amazed as we look through and evaluate proposals, some of the mistakes we find in them. So just make sure you double check them, and also make sure you understand when the proposal or quote is due. These next slides I'll show you I'll go through these pretty quickly. These show the NAICS code, so the North American Industry Classification System. These are the top 15 NAICS for total obligations for fiscal year 23 for Air Force Lifecycle Management Center. You can see them listed there. Next one just shows the top 15 NAICS by small business obligations for Air Force Lifecycle Management Center. Oops, okay, the 15, okay, and yeah, sorry about that, top 20, okay. This shows the small business obligations. I apologize. This one shows the obligations, principal place of performance for Air Force Lifecycle Management Center, broken down by state code. This is listed in order of small business obligations. So you can see Ohio has the highest small business obligations for Air Force Lifecycle Management Center. This next chart shows, we always talk about the strategic partnerships. These are other than small businesses. Their spend, we spend quite a bit of money with these other than small businesses. So this lists various small businesses that you can connect with. Normally they have small business liaison offices, and they're always looking for small businesses that can help them meet their subcontracting goals. This next chart shows the spend by the Department of Defense Activity Address Code. So this lists Wright Patterson Air Force Base, Hanscom, Robbins, Tinker, Eglin, Hill, Maxwell, Joint Base San Antonio, Heath, and then Offutt. So this shows the DODAC obligations by location. This chart here shows the various AFLCMC DODACs. What's great about this chart is you can search by these DODACs on sam.gov, look for various opportunities that are out there for Air Force Lifecycle Management Center, and this is listed by the bases. This chart shows the various opportunities within Air Force Lifecycle Management Center. We're really looking for those innovative technologies, operational, enterprise, contracted logistics support, condition-based maintenance plus, automation, robotics, just a complete list here. And of the list here, I'd like to point out the PEO Business Enterprise Systems. What's great is they have a smart guide, which lists the opportunities within their portfolio for 18 to 24 months. They usually update that twice a year, biannual, and they just recently updated. You can search for that, and that's under, they usually use the contract vehicle, the SB's contract, which is the Small Business Enterprise Application Solutions contract. So this just lists various opportunities that we're looking at a glance. This next chart has the how you can reach us and look for information out there. We put quite a bit of a time in our Air Force Lifecycle Management Small Business Office website, which includes information on upcoming colliders, outreach events like Lifecycle Industry Days. It has the expiring contracts list, and also you can click on and click us for the org box and reach us like that. This next chart off to the right is our Air Force Lifecycle Management Small Business Office website that's on the Small Business Hub for Air Force Research Labs. This also includes a capability statement section where you can click on that, upload your capability statement, which industry and also government acquisition teams can look at. So AFRL is in the process of updating this Small Business Hub website and looking to even add more information out there to help the small business industrial base. And then last but not least on this chart, it shows the link for the Great Power Competition, the reoptimization. I would suggest going out there, looking at that. There's a lot of great information. Continue to update information about the Great Power Competition and the movement there. This next chart shows the Air Force Lifecycle Management Center small business offices. Like I said before, we're headquartered Wright Patterson Air Force Base. I'm the director, Luke Schultz. These are the various small business professionals listed here with the various PEOs that they cover. We also have offices up at Hanscom Air Force Base. The director up there is Andrea Panagoulis. Her deputy is Amy McDonough. Then down at Gunter, down at Maxwell, Alabama, Miss Yolanda McCain is the small business director down there. And then further down in Florida at Eglin Air Force Base, we have the small business director, Anita Jackson, and then Tina Mercer there is her deputy. There's also a location at Lackland Air Force Base. Miss Zakia Norris or Zia Norris deals with crypto there. The other small business offices that I shared on this chart, we have a strategic partnership with the Air Force Sustainment Center. They provide support to the Air Force Lifecycle Management Center locations at Tinker, Robbins, and Hill. Those are the various small business directors at those locations, and the Air Force Sustainment Small Business Director for the Sustainment Center is Mr. Ronnie Hobbs, and he's located out at Tinker. Oops, okay. And then this last slide shows contact information. That's my work phone number there. We also have an org box. This is my personal email address. This shows the various emails and contact information for the directors at Eglin, Hanscom, and then also Maxwell. So feel free to reach out to us. And that's all I have for there. Are there any questions in there, Shonda?
Yes, thank you so much, Luke. I just decided to go ahead and let you finish and ask a couple questions at the end. One, there was a slide, I think maybe midway through, where you showed a link for a website for Air Force Procurement Center. Do you remember? And Renee, if you can put it, and I don't know if that Renee is, I think it was a little bit back.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, Renee, is that what you were looking for? Is it the AFLCMC? Oh, she has it. Thank you. You showed it again.
Oh, okay, great.
So she got it.
Yeah, I know
Okay.
you'll share the slides, and if you have any other questions or anything like that, please feel free to reach out to me.
Okay. Another question, and I kind of know it. I forget what the acronym is, but for the sake of the audience, the DODACs. What does the DODAC mean, and what does that, reference? Those DODAC
Yeah,
codes.
Yeah, the DODAC codes. Those are codes that's the Department of Defense Activity Address Code.
Okay.
So you'll be able to search by the DODAC on sam.gov. for those various opportunities for Air Force Lifecycle Management Center. Those are our codes for the various offices that we support.
Okay, great. Thank
Each
you.
contracting office has their own DODAC.
Okay. And then also you showed a lot of slides with the top NAICS codes. And for those of you who may be new, the NAICS codes are North American Industry Classification System. That's how the federal government identifies your product or your service, what you have to offer. So you list several different, the top NAICS codes that Wright Patterson buys from, but somebody wanted to know pointers for small businesses. So if they're interested in coming to the matchmaker, what are some pointers that you would give them how to get engaged with Wright Patterson? I know you did speak a lot about, which is very good, subcontracting. And a lot of times small businesses aren't going to be able to break in as a prime where they get a direct contract with a federal agency. But what are some pointers that small businesses can do for success?
I mean, some of the pointers for small business for success is really, make sure you attend those outreach events like the SBA Matchmaker. So when you're make sure you have your capability statement. Spend your time making sure that it's good, concise, and to the point. Usually we like those to be one page, usually PDF. So if you send me your capability statement, what I'm looking to do is send it out to various small business office or program teams that will look over it. And then if they need additional information, they'll reach out to you and ask for it. But, it's kind of like description of what your company does, past performance, NAICS that you're registered under, things like that. And usually it's good to kind of throw some pictures in there too, but just make sure it's concise and to the point. I know the Apex accelerators, I know they're really good at kind of helping small businesses with their capability statements, along with small business professionals in the SBA. Our biggest thing is our Air Force Lifecycle Management Center Lifecycle Industry Days. That's our preeminent event where senior leaders will be there. You'll be able to meet. They're really looking to do those strategic networking opportunities. I know my group will be there. I believe they'll have PEOs there, and they'll be manning various locations, and you'll actually have the opportunity, if you sign up, to request to meet one-on-one with the various PEOs. But really, as far as success, it's getting engaged, making sure you hit those industry events, reach out to your small business office. We're in essence the entry point for Air Force Lifecycle Management Center. I would also suggest that they look into the various industry groups that are out there, like your NDIA, your Fast Rope, your AFCEA, just anything that gets together professionals that are working with the government. You may be able to make strategic partnerships with some of those business development people. So yeah, it's really our biggest thing is, continue to knock on those doors, make those connections, attend those events, look for those opportunities, reach out to your small business office if you're having problems getting hold of a team. I know we're going to be busy with the Great Power Competition and making sure we're able to support the teams and help out the small business industrial base.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much, Luke. And Luke said a mouthful as far as a lot of key pointers as for small business. So if you weren't familiar with some of those, like your capability statement, if you're new to that, again, as he mentioned, the Apex accelerators can help you out with that. And that essentially is going to be your marketing material that you're going to use to engage, whether it's a federal agency like Wright Patterson or a state agency or a city agency. That capability statement is kind of like your resume for your business. So knowing how to put one together, and actually, we are going to have a training on that. So if you don't know anything about capability statements, how you're going to put one together, you can attend a webinar for that. actually, looking up the schedule. But we will have a webinar on that, and then you can also work with an Apex Accelerator counselor one-on-one to review those. I've also reviewed those. So that's a great way. You have a month to get that prepared and get some feedback. Also going to that industry day, the Wright Patterson Industry Day. I believe I've attended that 2 or 3 times in the past. I attended it last year, actually. It is very well attended. And so one of the things as a small business, I would also, Luke didn't mention it, but I would also stress those industry days are a great way for you to find out what's really the mission of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. What are they about? When you go to that industry day, you're going to find out a lot of the different centers and what they focus on. They'll have breakout sessions. And if you can get engaged and really find out about what is the mission, what's really important to them, that's a great way for you to start to make entrance. I didn't know that they are going to have some sessions where you can sign up to meet with someone, take advantage of those. And then as you start to meet with individuals again, there may not be a prime opportunity, but there may be an opportunity as a subcontractor where you can work with a prime, somebody that has a direct contract with Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and then go from there. Then also the industry groups. There are tons of industry groups, especially in the Dayton area surrounding Wright-Pat. So whatever industry you're in, construction, IT, there are a lot of industry groups that you can get involved in to find out more information to help you get acclimated in doing business. If there are no more questions, I do want to thank Luke. He did give out a ton of information. That's really going to be good. You can, again, work with your Apex Accelerator on how to download everything and to see how you can apply it so that you'll be ready for the matchmaking. Again, thank you so much, Luke. We will have the slides. We will post those so that you can have them. And I know Wright-Pat is always, they have a strong representation at the matchmaker. They typically have like a whole table full of small business representatives that attend the matchmaker. So we're grateful for that. So I believe they're already registered, and registration for the matchmaker just opened up today. So if you have not registered, you can go ahead and register for that. Thank you again, Luke. Great information. I don't see any more questions. Do appreciate, as always, your presentation and all that you do for our small business community.
Thank you. I appreciate all the work that you guys do and help us out, and look forward to meeting small businesses at our other outreach events.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Thank you, Luke. We are going to transition. Grateful that we're able to bring 2 agencies to you. So that was doing business with Wright-Pat. Next, we are going to have doing business with the Army Corps of Engineers. So we actually have 2 presenters. One representative from the Army Corps Engineers, the Louisville district. And then we also have a representative from the Huntington district. And I believe Ohio, depending on the projects, both Louisville and Huntington support Ohio. So I do know that. And I have actually had a chance to interact with both district offices and love their representation. Had a chance to attend their outreach event that they had in December last year. It was very well attended as we came out of COVID. So with that, I'll just say both. Ms. Courtney Luckett is a small business professional with the Louisville District of Army Corps of Engineers, and Ms. Eileen Hodges is the Deputy for Small Business in Huntington District. And they're going to have a tag team effort for their presentation. So we'll go ahead and allow them to get started. Eileen and Courtney, you can take it away.
All right. Thank you, Shonda. Welcome, everyone, and thanks for participating in the event today. I'm going to start us off. My name is Eileen Hodges. I'm the Deputy for Small Business with the Huntington District, and I am here with my counterpart in Louisville. I'll let her introduce herself.
Good morning, Courtney Luckett. I'm in the Louisville District. Something just a little quirky about Louisville, if you want. Louisville District is the only district in our Great Lakes and Ohio River Division that actually has 2 small business professionals. So I came on last May, and my counterpart, Crystal, we are tag teaming to make sure that all the work, because our workload is so vast, to get it all done. So I'm happy to be here.
Okay.
This shared. Are you seeing the presentation?
Not yet.
Not just yet.
Okay.
I think something's moving.
Something's moving. Let me put it over there and see if it'll work that way. Screen. Okay.
There we go.
There. All right. Can you see it?
Yes, looks good.
Very good.
Okay, so we're just going to start off with, well, this is just a little thing to say. What we're trying to do here is make the path to doing business with us as smooth as possible. So we're going to try to give you information that will help you get to doing business with us, and we're going to try to tell you a little bit about each of our areas, what we do. And so the first thing I'm going to start us off with is what I call the basics. Now, since Luke went over a lot of information about SAM.gov, the System for Award Management, you may find some of these is additional information and some of it is new. So I mainly like to make sure, first of all, I'm pretty sure most of you have already registered in this system. It is free registration. Your Apex accelerators can be very helpful in getting your registration information in there. And I want to make sure you understand that the information that is posted to the System for Award Management populates the information that the Small Business Administration's dynamic small business search contains, so that when we need to go in and make sure you're certified as a woman-owned small business or a hub-zone small business, the information has to be showing in there for us to make sure you qualify, you're eligible for any of those that are set aside for your particular socioeconomic designation. So you want to include in the information that you put in your registration keywords, narrative information, use as many of the North American Industry Classification System codes as possible that apply to the work that you do. And this is something that not everybody knows. The federal government cannot use manufacturing or retail codes that start with 4. So when you're looking at the NAICS code table, which is available out on the SBA website, sba.gov, we want to make sure that you're using the corresponding manufacturing code. Usually those will start with a 3, even though you may not be a manufacturer. So that's just kind of a thing that gets by some people. We're not going to find you if you're registered with a 4 when we need to be, we're searching on a 3 code. And you'll understand that a little more as we go along, I believe. So next, I wanted to hit the Federal Acquisition Regulation and the Department of Defense Federal Acquisition Regulation Supplement. These, Luke mentioned know the legal part of what you're doing. So these are located at acquisition.gov, so they're available online. It's important that you understand that the regulations that we follow, they set out the terms and conditions of the contracts. So it tells you what your responsibilities are and helps you prepare, to do the work in compliance with the contract clauses. Any questions that you may have with certain clauses, your Apex accelerators can help. We can help. Your contracting people, they can help. So just just the interpretation of some of those. If you run into difficulty, we're happy to help you understand what we're asking for. Other agencies, such as the Air Force, they probably, I think they have their own supplements. So it'd be like AFARS or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but if Luke wants to clarify that right there, I'll give him a moment. Okay, maybe he was not on right just then. The local, like I said, the local Apex accelerators can help you with interpreting the regulations. You can also contact us, but some clauses have requirements that may require a financial outlay by the contractor. So that's why I say you want to be sure to read those contract clauses and make sure you're capturing the costs for what those requirements are, whether it's that you have to have your team trained in security system or something to be able to access our sites or our systems. So be sure to just, when you're doing your proposal preparation, just kind of keep that in mind. That's part of the project, part of the contract. And since we usually use firm fixed pricing, it may make a difference as you go through the contract, the life of the contract. Okay, so next, I have kind of a little bit about the way we do things. We usually use Part 16. It sets out the different types of contracts that we may use. And for the most part, the Huntington District uses firm fixed price contracting. It could be used either in what we call the sealed bidding, which is an invitation for bid, or in negotiated procurements, which are requests for proposals or requests for quotes. So when you're preparing your offer, just be sure to, as I said earlier, include all the costs associated with the requirements of the terms and conditions, security clauses, all of that. Other types of contracts that you might come across, cost reimbursement contracts, they're negotiated with negotiated contracts only. Cost plus fixed fee contracts where the contractor bears less responsibility and risk for cost, and the profit or fee is a fixed fee, fixed number. And these are rarely used by us, but I will let Courtney let you know whether Louisville uses those very often when she presents her section. FAR Part 2 is where you will find the definitions for if you need further reference while you're going through your FAR. Are there any questions so far?
I don't see any
No.
in the chats.
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so in Federal Acquisition Regulation Part 6, that sets out the different types of competition you may encounter when you're going for federal contracts. So solicitations open to all business sizes are called unrestricted. Sometimes they're also referred to as full and open because they are not restricted by business size. The federal government's policy is to set aside for small business to the greatest extent practicable, which is always fun to say. So these are called small business set-asides, and you'll be able to see that on your standard forms that have like request for quotation or request for proposal or invitation for bid. So it will let you know whether it is set aside for small business. So you know whether you're competing with other small businesses or with all businesses of all sizes. That gives you just an idea of who your competition might be. You may also see contracts not competed at all, but directly awarded based upon one of 7 circumstances where we justify why we are limiting competition. So that is also in FAR Part 6. And then the acquisition strategy depends upon several factors. The easiest way to differentiate the types of contract methods is price. So if you're looking at supplies under $10,000, construction services under $2,000, and services of under $2,500, these are referred to as government purchase card or micro purchases. They do not necessarily have to be advertised. We do have to follow a required sources of supplies and services as set out in FAR Part 8, but we're not typically required to advertise for the need for these micro purchases, nor to obtain multiple offers for consideration. The next is the simplified acquisition procedure. Between the micro purchase value and $25,000, this is a simplified acquisition procedure that doesn't necessarily require advertisement, but does require the solicitation seek from at least 2 firms for competition. Then from $25,000 to $250,000, this is also considered a simplified acquisition, but it does require advertisement on the system for award management, either as a request for proposal, request for quote, invitation for bid, any of those types of contract solicitation might be out there. And that is so that we can obtain the maximum competition, which obviously allows us to get better pricing and have confidence in the competition pool that we're getting responsive and responsible contractors. And then the formal contract is a contract valued greater than $250,000, and these are called formal or large. Sometimes they're called standalone contracts. These are advertised in contract opportunities on the sam.gov site, again in the form of invitation for bid or request for proposal. So for any of these contracts that are not competed but directly awarded, those are going to be because of some justification that allows the government to go to a limited source. I'm going to turn the talk over to Courtney. If there are no questions, I'm going to let her take off with Procurement Integrated Enterprise Environment.
All right,
Okay.
I'm not seeing any questions just yet, but if you've got some, by all means, let us know. The Procurement Integrated Enterprise Environment, otherwise known as PI, is what we call it, is the primary enterprise to application for the DoD. We maintain our ACOs, or administrative contracting officers, the appointment letters for our contracting officer representatives, which are CORs. We monitor contractor surveillance and monitoring in this system. Government furnished property, security, invoices, and then this is also where we can sometimes advertise those solicitations, but where you can provide those or proposals, quotes in this system that I'll get into in just a minute. So contractor registration and training. There is a training that you'll have to go through and register within this system. So you'll use this guide for the contractors on how to set up your accounts within the system at this website, and then the further training for how to utilize that solicitation module is there as well. Highly recommend utilizing those trainings and those guides to walk you through this. This is a very large database of information. So to get the best out of it, it would be recommended to use those guides. So the roles that you're going to want to apply for in this solicitation module will be the program manager, proposal manager, proposal view only, and then the solicitation manager. And then that table gives you the applications of what your capabilities are in each of those roles. The solicitation module specifics. This was developed to prevent issues when dropping large files for a submittal for a proposal. We used to use DoD Safe. It just keeps everything, number one, in there together, and it doesn't take as long to download. Number two, if there's a classified proposal that you have to put in on, it's a classified solicitation, whatever the case may be, it is a secure place to provide that proposal. So the solicitation module was also designed specifically to capture documentation needed to memorize the date and time of when those submissions are put in the file. That's important if your solicitation and your proposal is late, it records that time. So make sure you get it in there in enough time that it records it before the due date. Like I said, it also supports the larger files with no limit on the number of files, and you can put in multiple files. It's also integrated within SAM in accordance with FAR Part 5. So SAM, the System for Award Management. To continue on, the solicitation module is applicable to all procurements regardless of their value. So if it's posted in SAM, you can utilize PI. You use your user email address, must be attached to the email, and the same address that is on file in SAM. And you must register for a PI account in order to participate. So moving on to ProjNet. ProjNet is a web-enabled application. It's also known as Dr. Checks, to allow contractors to ask questions to USACE regarding a specific solicitation. So there's bid inquiries, technical subject matter experts. We will coordinate that on our side once you submit a question, and then we will provide you an answer. And I know that Louisville does this a little differently. When you ask a question, we provide 3 different responses. 1, no further action will be taken. 2 is please see amendment 3 for the answer. Or 4, I'm sorry, I can't count 3. Please see specific specification section. So on the IFBs that Eileen was talking about, this is how you will ask questions for those larger formal projects. You can also use it on the SAP projects, but it's not as widely used in all of what we call LRD. So there are 7 districts within LRD, which is the Great Lakes and Ohio River Division. Eileen and I are just 2 of those 7 districts. So these are the roles that you have, and then how to obtain those ProjNet instructions. For Louisville specifically, we put in the solicitation a ProjNet sheet. So it tells you each of the specific instructions on how to get in. Each different solicitation will have its own project quick add key is what it's called, bidder inquiry key, and it's specific to that solicitation so that you can ask questions pertaining specifically to that solicitation. So benefits to using ProjNet, no account is necessary. It's easy entry for the contractors. All contractors can see the questions and the answers. So if you have a question about a certain area and it hasn't been asked, it's highly likely somebody else has the same question. So by all means, ask the question, and then we will get you those answers to help provide that clarity. Contractors have a common place to put input for solicitation questions, like I said, acknowledgement of their questions by us giving you that answer. And then contractors are able to see the other responses. But contractors are not, they do not know who makes those inquiries, so that information is kept. Corps of Engineer contractor traits. So really, as a USACE contractor, the things on the left identify just some traits that we would like to see in the firms that we work with. Eileen, did you have something to add to that?
Just, we do heavily rely on partnering with our contractors. We expect them to know the ins and outs, the industry standards, the best methods and practices to meet the technical requirements. We count on them to offer us innovative ideas that have the effect that we get better outcomes and realization of cost savings. So there is a lot that the government relies on its contractors for, other than, I mean, besides just getting the mission accomplished. It's important that we partner with our contractors. Thanks, Courtney.
Yes, ma'am. All right. So do your research. With any new venture that you take, you want to know what you're getting yourself into, right? So when a solicitation comes out and you're looking at it, make sure that it's in your area, that you know what we're asking for, and by all means ask the questions if you've got it, if you've got them. We're happy to help further clarify those. Just ask. Determine what the mission needs of the organization and whether they match your capabilities, right? Decide whether or not to take on those responsibilities, working with terms and conditions, just like Luke was saying earlier. You've got to know what those terms and conditions are. You've got to follow our regulations, the FAR, the DFARs. The USACE safety manual was just recently updated for that as well. And then all eligibility requirements for working with our organization, the System for Award Management, SAM, the Procurement Integrity Enterprise Environment, PI, and for Huntington District and all of the LRD, ProjNet, or Doctor Checks. It's referred to as both. All right, now turn it back over to Miss Eileen for some Huntington District.
All right. Are there any questions so far?
No, we don't have any at this time.
Okay. All right, so this is the Huntington District. We are mainly a civil works district. We have 35 lake and dam projects, 25 federal levees, 29 local protection projects, and 9 locks and dams in our area of responsibility. We cover 9 river basins, 45,000 square miles altogether, over 400 miles of waterways. We have special mission areas in navigation, flood risk management, recreation, water supply, and environmental stewardship. So that's a nutshell version of us. We basically, the average age of the projects is, as you can see, nearly 70 years. So there is a lot of maintenance involved in the work that we do here in the district. We also support inland transportation by keeping the waterways navigable, assisting places with flood risk management and the best ways to mitigate flooding. And obviously the recreational opportunities that our lakes offer is pretty important to both the local economies and just people wanting to have fun on the lake. Okay, so the Huntington District is commanded by Colonel Jason Putnam. We can go to the next slide if you want. There we go. These are some centers of expertise and some specialized things that we have in our district. A lot of the core districts will have a certain expertise area that's assigned to them for the entire core. So for us, that is the Planning Center of Expertise for Inland Navigation and Risk-Informed Economics Division. We also have the Dam Safety Modification Mandatory Center of Expertise in our district. And we have the Regional Rivers Repair Fleet that covers our entire region. So over 2,000 river miles and 56 lock and dams. So we have a regional, a nationwide, and a global impact, basically, with the work that we do through the Centers for Expertise and the Regional Rivers Repair Fleet. So in the Huntington District, we have the highest, the most dollar obligations go toward our engineering services, which is the North American Industry Classification System code of 541330. And then next, because of our civil works mission, we have 237990, construction of other non-building facilities. That's for us, that's moving dirt, basically, realigning channels, all that sort of fun stuff. Then we also have a big need for fabricated structural metal manufacturing to keep up with the repairs to the parts and pieces of these dams, the locks and dams, and sometimes we're going to be building some new gates. They're going to be pretty large projects. Then we have landscaping services, because with 35 lake and dam projects, there's a lot of mowing and maintenance to be done, cleaning services, janitorial. So those are the four largest obligation areas for our district. And last year, well, fiscal year 2023, we had 997 actions obligating 110 million. And of that, small businesses received 43% of the dollars obligated, and they received 717 of those contract actions. So 72% of all of the actions that we awarded were awarded to small businesses. Okay, I think the next one up is back to Courtney. Thank you. Oh, are there any questions for Huntington District before I turn it over, Courtney? Sorry.
No questions.
All right, thank you.
So in Louisville District, we have a theme, and every time we start a meeting, we get this slide, and it's called Winning Matters in Louisville. So our motto is to safely finish quality projects on time and within budget, and we cannot do that without the partnership between us and the firms that we are working with. So because Louisville is Derby area, we get Derby themed pictures. This is what our corporate board looks like. We're commanded by Colonel Ren Mann. She came on board last July and is learning the ropes very quickly. So Louisville District overview, we have over 1,200 people in 5 states, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Michigan, and Ohio. And we have field offices in each of those states as well. Our geographic area, our civil works mission, we cover over 67,000 square miles in those 5 states to include Tennessee. Our military mission, we cover 306,000 square miles to include Michigan and Ohio. Our military mission, we have 13 Army installations, 5 Air Force installations, and then we also provide worldwide support to the Army and Air Force Reserve Centers. And we also have an environmental mission to clean up any contaminated sites for health and safety, a lot of lead abatement. The interagency and international services, which we call IIS, and the Department of Veteran Affairs in the EPA. So we currently have a Department of Veteran Affairs hospital going in Canandaigua, New York, and then also one locally in Louisville. Our civil works mission, we have 17 flood reduction and recreational reservoirs, 7 locks and dams on the Ohio River, and then 2 locks on Green River. So this is just a photo of the breakdown of our different missions in the areas. We recently received the ERSIP, Energy Resilience and Conservation Investment Program, where we are the construction agent for that. Huntsville Center is the designer. And then once those microgrids, once those microgrids are designed, then Louisville District puts out the solicitation for the construction of those microgrids. And that is worldwide as well. So these are the civil works boundaries, the 17 flood risk lakes. Louisville District has a very vast mission. So we have civil works like Eileen and Huntington, but we also have a very large military construction mission. This is our active military construction program. So 54% of overall military program last year was $710 million. And then our nationwide reserves program, when Luke was showing his POCs, Tinker Air Force Base was one that stood out to me as I was doing a Tinker project. And I think I actually talked to Ronnie on that. Our primary NAICS codes that we use, 236, 220, because of our military construction program is so large, that is the main one that we used for that one. Engineering services, and then environmental services as well. FY23 awards. So we had 2,271 contract awards totaling over $1 billion in contract obligations last year, which is huge. And it looks like we're on track to do about $1 billion in obligations again this year. And so far, we have awarded just over 32% to small businesses and those socioeconomic categories. Louisville was the top USACE district for total dollars obligated to HubZone last fiscal year as well. So our contracting opportunities. Recently, we, LRD as a whole, underwent a combining of our individual district websites to a regional website for LRD. And with that, we have regionalized our forecast. So all 7 districts forecasts can be found on the LRD website, this link. And actually, I'm hoping that this works, that I can pull this up to show you. So this is LRD's website. If you go on the right hand, business with us, so we're trying to update our forecast a little more frequently as well. So, and then you want to click on contracting opportunities forecast. And then this blue forecast. So you can search, this would be the entire region's forecast, by this buying activity. And this information as far as with our DODAX or designations will be at the end of the presentation, so you'll see that. But within LRD, we have Buffalo, Chicago, Detroit, Huntington, Louisville, Nashville, Pittsburgh. So LRB would be Buffalo, LRC is Chicago, so on. But if you click on this current forecast opportunities, this will take you to a download of the Excel version of this. So this is what the forecast will look like. If you add a filter to the top of this, then you can filter using this buying activity based on which district information you're looking for. So if you want to see Huntington district, click on just Huntington, and it'll come up with each of our projects, what that NAICS code is, where it's located, what type of contract it's supposed to be, whether it's standalone, request for proposal, and then the anticipated solicitation date and the anticipated award date. So a lot of information, but a lot of good information right there at your fingertips as well. So that's what this whole slide, I just did a demonstration of. You also want to watch the System for Award Management, SAM. You can query and have it notify you when something in your area of expertise posts to the system. I know Luke talked a lot about looking for those industry days, those small business outreach events. Solicitations are posted on there, sources sought notices, which is market research. And awards. Once an award is made, they will post it. It's called an award notice. Will be posted to SAM as well. So those sources sought notices we put on there, and we really would like you to respond to those so that we can set aside solicitations for either a socioeconomic category or a general small business. So, and then listed at the bottom are Huntington and Louisville DODAX. And then at the end on our POC page, there'll be those DODAX listed as well So that specific designator for each of our districts.
And there's a note on there about in April, I was, this month, I was supposed to have given a presentation to the Southern Ohio Apex Accelerator. That has been, due to the storms we had come through, they had no electric on the day that I was supposed to present. So that is going to be rescheduled if anyone is interested in attending the advanced interactive training session that I'm going to be doing with the Southern Ohio Apex Accelerator. I don't have a date yet, but we're working on that. So just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
All right. So SBA, their website, another vast amount of information for you to use. The list of federal government prime contractors, a subcontracting directory to help small and other than small firms connect. The data bank in SAM is also very useful. And then your Apex Accelerator, as Joey was on earlier, they're always very good resources. So again, just to kind of foot stomp the workshops and the networking events, we in Louisville try and post our events on SAM, and then it will take you to typically an Eventbrite registration link for you to register. Most of ours that I'm aware of are free events, but we still have to have you register so that we can get a general idea of how many people are attending. The workshops and conferences, so LRD as a whole, Great Lakes and Ohio River Division, they typically have a virtual industry day in the fall. So that just took place a couple months ago. Huntington Small Business Conference will be in person on May 1st and 2nd. And then Louisville District, our next open house will be July 25th. And we typically do one in the winter with SAME, and that was on February 1st. So then our second one will be July 25th. And then if you put in for a solicitation, be sure whether you receive the award for that solicitation or not, you are always welcome to request a debrief and to receive feedback from contracting to say, here's where you could have been better. Here's what you missed. And so you get that feedback for the next solicitation. For those smaller opportunities that Eileen was talking about earlier, those micro purchases, that are utilized a lot by our lake folks. It's best to develop those relationships with those locations of our lakes to really get on those. One way to also to perform internet searches of our projects you'd like to work with and providing someone at that location. So you're welcome to have a conversation with our lake guys, recreational people to get on there as well. And again, just our division migrated all 7 districts' web pages into one as of early January. And if those links are not working, please let us know. It's still a work in progress. Subcontracting opportunities. I know Luke touched on some of these. All large business primes are required to submit a subcontracting plan. For construction contracts, the threshold is 1.5 million, and for other contracts, it's 750,000. And those have to be approved by the contracting officer prior to award. So that's definitely a good way to get your foot in the door. If you've never been a prime on a contract, is to meet those primes. One way to do that is on sam.gov. When you find that solicitation, on the left-hand side, there should be an option called Interested Vendors List, and you can add your firm and your information to that list. And prime should be adding themselves as well. So then you can look to see who the prime would be or a prime and contact that prime as they're in that solicitation planning process to be one of the subs that provides pricing in that early process. The small business participation plan that applies to both small and large business primes on unrestricted or full and open acquisitions. This is a rated factor in our source selection. So when we have a source selection evaluation board where the solicitation is going to be awarded on something besides just price. So you can have technical factors. So small business participation plan would be one of those factors. And then identify potential subcontracting opportunities. The current contract holders, as well as on the new LRD page, there should be a list of IDIQ holders on there. You're welcome to contact them and see if you can be a subcontractor for those large contracts. Tips for being successful. Make sure you read the solicitation and the amendments in their entirety and follow all the instructions in the solicitation. So if we ask for something specific, or please reference this, please make sure that you're touching on everything that we're asking for. Ask questions early and often. As we talked earlier, Louisville District and LRD as a whole utilize ProjNet to ask those questions on those larger projects. And then for negotiated procurement, submit your best technical and price proposal during the initial submission. Don't assume that discussions will be opened and you'll have the opportunity to revise that proposal. All right. Small business designations. So within small business, we have socioeconomic categories. And these are just a few listed here. Small business designation. Go right ahead.
I was just going to say the ones that we show there, those are tracked for us. Those are the ones that we have goals associated with. So the 8A business development and small disadvantaged businesses, that's one of the goals that we track. And then Hub Zone, woman owned, and service disabled, veteran owned. Those are important for us to get as many firms in our program as possible, just to encourage the small business designation program. Thank you.
All right, so to maximize your competitive advantage, you can pursue one of these designations. Your Apex Accelerator and your SBA office can help you determine your firm's eligibility. That helps us set aside our solicitations, whether that be for a general small business or for those socioeconomic categories. And it can also help with the subcontracting opportunities where prime contractors are looking for firms with those socioeconomic designations, because they have that subcontracting goal that they have to meet as well. So it assists in meeting those goals for those prime. May heighten awareness of who you are and the supplies and services you provide, and an increased opportunity to secure that contract. So small businesses have to do more with less. Again, locate those conferences, those industry days, trade shows. They're not a waste of your time. Go in, meet us. We are there. We want to talk to you. Please consider going to an event. Louisville District, I know we post our presentation slides after our events to the website. So you're welcome, if you're unable to attend, to get those slideshows for that information as well. Location is important. Sometimes you may not be able to get there. You may have to travel a little further for that information. But if you're looking for work opportunities within those areas, specific areas, stay within those boundaries. And then you can work with, again, Apex Accelerator to ensure that your SAM information is complete. Because as Eileen said earlier, that information pulls over to SBA's dynamic small business search in that keywords and narratives, and we utilize that a great deal. As I talked earlier about the interested vendors button in SAM, and to watch those sources sought notices. on SAM as well, and then pre and post awards. You can search the websites, like I said, for the prime contractors, whether that be construction IDIQs, AE contracts as well, to market your firm's goods or services, whatever that may be, to the larger contractors. If there's a site visit or pre-proposal conferences listed in those solicitations, highly recommend attending those if you can. And our contact information. So this is where I was talking earlier that we list each of our districts' phone numbers. We each have our own email address that we have with industry, and then those DODACs to signify each of the district's designations to find that work for us. So each, on the bottom right-hand corner, each district has their own, it's called a feature page now. So instead on that LRD website. So it's still there, it's just not as easy to find. So I can show you real fast how to get to that on our website. If you go to About, you go to Districts, and then each of the districts have their own. So it will show you what that district is doing. And like I was saying, we post our event slides here. So these are posted from our open house February 1st. If you have any other questions, please let us know.
All right. Thank you, Courtney, and thank you, Eileen. Definitely saw some things that were mentioned in Luke's presentation, also mentioned, and Eileen and Courtney. So if you're, again, just kind of new to maybe you're doing business with the state or the city, and maybe you want to do federal government contracting. I know you've seen SAM a couple of times. And so it's not Uncle Sam, but the System for Award Management. And if you need to know more about getting registered in SAM, the Apex Accelerators can definitely help you to do that. If you do have any questions, you can go ahead and type them in the chat. Definitely thank Courtney and Eileen. Always wonderful to learn more about our federal agencies, and grateful to see how they buy, the things that they buy, and what they do. We always learn something. So if you have any questions, you can type them in. And while we're waiting for that, again, I thank Courtney and Eileen. And I believe we are going to have representation from somebody from Army Corps at the matchmaker. I think Joey's getting on screen now.
Yes, I'm planning to. This is Eileen. I'm planning to be at the matchmaker this year.
Great. So they're going to be at the matchmaker. You definitely want to make sure you get registered so that you can sign up to meet with Eileen one-on-one. While we're, again, waiting, we do have just a few minutes. Just want to mention today's webinar. We actually kicked off this webinar series on March 27th. And this is our 6th webinar. So we're always excited about doing these each week. We focus on bringing you 2 topics. We actually have 2 tracks of training, one for those that are new to government contracting and those that they maybe been doing government contracting a few years or they're more seasoned. So next Wednesday, the 17th, we will have a webinar in the morning, 10 o'clock to 12, preparing for success in state, local, federal government contracting through subcontracting. You heard Luke talk about that. You heard both Eileen and Courtney speak about subcontracting. Again, it's a great way to kind of enter into the market at the federal level if you've never done business with the federal government. And also they're going to be talking about RFIs, requests for information. So Luke kind of mentioned that in his presentation. Also RFP, request for presentation, so you can find out more information about how you respond to those. Then at 1 o'clock, doing business with Ohio National Guard and the Department of Energy, U.S. Department of Energy. And then on April 25th, the last two webinars, responding to federal requests for proposal, RFP, at 10 o'clock, and then 1 o'clock, an overview about the SBA and DoD mentor protege programs. And then we're actually going to have a panel discussion with two mentor protege relationships. So two different companies, one where there's a mentor and then the protege, they'll be able to share some of the tips and key tools that they've learned from the mentor protege program and also forming joint ventures. So if you can't take advantage of those, you can still go out and register. If we don't have any questions, again,
Shonda?
yes.
There is one question for Eileen. I believe it is the event you were talking about with Southern Ohio Apex. Do you have, I know you said you are rescheduling it, but could you speak to, will it be an in-person event or will it be a virtual event?
Hello, it will be an in-person event. They have a nice little facility there in South Point, Ohio. It's real easy to get to. If you have any questions, as far as I know, they'll be probably, once we set a date, we'll probably send out some information to, what I usually do is try to pull from the contractors from using the dynamic small business search so that I can identify which counties they're in, because the Southern Ohio Apex covers, I think, 9 or 10 counties specifically. So kind of they're set up a little bit differently, I think, than you guys are there at the OU one. So, but they offer the same services.
Yep. No, absolutely. Thank you for expanding upon that. And yes, we work very closely with the Southern Ohio Apex Accelerator. So in Ohio, we have really two main Apexes, the state of Ohio, the statewide one, which I run, and then the Southern Ohio Apex, which is led by Mr. Jordan Lucas. So Jordan will be scheduling that event with Eileen here to be determined. So keep an eye out for that.
I'm glad that you asked about that, Joey, because I know we've partnered with the Southern Ohio Apex and they've done some webinars, but it's good to see them doing an in-person event. So if you're down in that area, you'd love to attend, you can reach out to them to get registered. I know that will be a great way to get more information about the Army Corps and get involved with the Apex. So without further ado, I think that's it. Thank you again, Luke. I know he posted in the chat, said thanks. Thanks again, Eileen and Courtney. We're always grateful to our federal agencies, state agencies, cities, counties. They really are there to help you as small businesses to get engaged, to do business with these agencies. Sometimes it can be a daunting process. It can be challenging. In addition to the small business offices at both agencies, again, Apex Accelerators, a great resource to kind of help you with at any age or stage that you may need assistance as a small business and doing business with the government. So again, thank you.
I've also, Shonda,
Go ahead, yes.
I posted a link to our upcoming small business event. Ours is facilitated by the Huntington Post of the Society of American Military Engineers. So this particular one is not it's not a free registration, but it does have a lot to offer. It has an icebreaker the evening before with all the attendees and some Huntington District Corps folks, and then the next day is our business meetings and networking and all that. So if anyone thinks that they might be interested in that, please feel free to reach out to me or check out that website and see what we're planning to offer. Thank you.
Thank you. And it looks like that, I just clicked on the link, is going to be held just a few days before the matchmaker. So May 1st and May 2nd. And that is going to be down at your office in the Huntington.
It'll be
West
at the
Virginia.
DoubleTree. Yeah, the DoubleTree by Hilton, downtown Huntington, 3rd Avenue.
Okay.
Thanks.
So if you're in that area, or if you don't mind traveling, it's a great way again to learn more about the Army Corps. I think this is the same event that they had it was in Cincinnati in December, maybe. So if you're able to join, was it your?
I think that was the whole division. This is the Huntington district.
Oh, just the Huntington. Okay, just your district. Okay, so just the Huntington district. So if you want to go ahead and register, thank you for bringing that up, Eileen. And again, don't forget the Wright Path. Luke mentioned their industry day that's going to take place in July. So some additional events that you can get plugged in with both agencies to find out more about their mission and what they do, and then also do some business to business interaction as well. Without further ado, if that's it, I lost my questions. We again want to thank our both presenters, Luke Schultz and Eileen Hodges and Courtney Luckett, and thank them for their time and their presentation. Always have a great session when we do our webinars. And so we look forward to them joining us at the Matchmaker, and hopefully we will see you at the Matchmaker again. That is May 8th and May 9th. May 8th, when we kick off the Matchmaker, it's a half day of training. So Wednesday, the 8th, we start at 12 noon, and I think we have a couple panel discussions, and then we have a reception right after those trainings. About 5 o'clock, we have a reception for about 2 hours. It's always nice. And then on the 9th, the full day of matchmaking will kick off, and that's usually a very full day. So registration again is open. So you want to go ahead and register as soon as possible. And then also, if you want to register for webinars, you can also do that as well. So thank you again for joining. We're out a little early. Everyone have a wonderful day, and we will look forward to seeing you on our next webinar, and definitely May 8th and May 9th in Dayton at the Nutter Center for the Matchmaker. Thank you again for joining us, and everybody have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.